Welcome to the Greatest of All Teams series. I am very proud and excited to have Neil Markey, our SVP of Products and CIO, join us today. Neil, welcome. So glad you're
Thank
here
you, John.
to share with us. So tell us a little bit about your personal background. Where have you been? Where you come from? A little about you personally. We'd love to hear about that.
Sure. So how I got into travel, actually. So as you can tell from the accent, born and raised in the UK, and actually never ever got on a plane through my entire childhood. And my first time on a plane was to relocate to Germany 5 days after my 21st birthday. Never been to the country before, so it was a complete surprise, get on the plane and land in a completely different country and learn the language. And then similar to California, never been to California before, and got on a plane from Germany back in 1998, came over to California and been here ever since. So I love travel.
And how has been most of your expertise? Where have you spent most of your career? I know you love travel, and that's a source of your early inspiration. But talk to us about your career and how that fits into what we're trying to do here at Deem from a technological and IT perspective.
Sure thing. So I've been in technology from day one. Grew up with computers, loved them, the things that you could actually do with them. Hewlett-Packard in Germany, spent many years building the intranet and the extranet for the company before transitioning over to the US, and then actually built the e-commerce platform for Hewlett-Packard at that time, and been in e-commerce really up until transitioning over into Deem and getting into the travel space. So been in technology background for the last 25 plus years, more than I care to admit. Working in a whole magnitude of different areas, a lot of it focused on commerce, a lot of it focused on newest and latest great technologies and how we bring them to really benefit the customers at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, Neil over the last 2+ years has modernized a lot of our IT infrastructure and continues on with that project and built a really performant, fast, high reliability system. And we don't think necessarily about corporate travel like e-commerce, but it's a mission critical app. And so if somebody's on the road or wants to book a flight, it's got to work 24/7 by 365. So Neil has spent a lot of energy making our systems much more reliable than anybody else in the marketplace, at least in my view. And on top of that, over the last year or so, has increased the size of our engineering team by over 100%. So he's been exhausted by engineering a lot of new products and hiring a lot of great people. So Neil, thanks for all that contribution. It's been a lot of work.
Thank you, John.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of fun.
A lot of fun too, exactly. Probably more fun for me than for you sometimes. But tell us about your excitement. Why are you excited about Deem? What excites you about the road ahead in business travel, Deem specifically?
Yeah, so I think, from my perspective, travel has been an area that's been underinvested from a technology perspective for a long time. Yeah. And you see the innovations that have happened in different spaces, especially e-commerce, where a lot of history from my background, and bringing those technology and those advances into travel, I think is ripe for a change in how we do things, and looking at how new technologies can evolve and improve that across the experience. That's what gets me really excited about this opportunity, because we not just have an opportunity to actually make a great platform, but to actually jump leaps and bounds from a technology standpoint into where the future could go. We're only scratching the surface in terms of what we're capable of doing right now. So I'm really excited on the future of where we can actually go and really adjust the traveler experience.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I joined Deem about 5 years ago because I felt the same way that you did, which is the business travelers have been underserved by technology. And I remember back in 1983 when I joined the Mac team, before the Macintosh was announced, and I felt at that time that was going to be transformational in terms of computing. It has been, and I kind of think we're in the same spot now with Deem, where we can be transformational, and the work has just begun. And we've made a lot of progress, but there's still a lot of good room to go. So on another point, talk about how you think the technology that you're building and designing and conceptualizing can help travel managers sort of deal with this post-COVID world and the requirements of duty of care, meaning corporations have an obligation to care for their employees while they travel. So how does technology help travel managers in that context?
Yeah, and I think duty of care has always been an important aspect of the travel for the travel managers, making sure that their travelers are safe and secure and when they go on their business trips. But now post-COVID and the experiences that we've all just gone through, I think the world has changed, and recognizing that that is the case. It's even more and more relevant that a travel manager knows exactly where their travelers are. They know basically the situations that they're going into, not just in, pre-booking, is it safe for me to go to this location, but also when things actually happen, being able to access their travelers really quick, make sure everything is safe with them. If needed, get them out of there as fast as possible on the most convenient and most expedited travel means possible. That's, I think, where we had the value in really providing that safety blanket, so the visibility to the travel managers of just exactly where in the world that people are, easy and readable access to them, and the worst case scenarios, if you need to get out of there, being able that you've got a trusted partner there with Deem that you can actually take care of your travelers as part of the solution.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think the change in the business travel or the travel industry in general, right? The number of layoffs that have hit the industry and the service providers and the travel management companies, there are just fewer people around to help solve problems, unfortunately, based on the structure of the business. And so that means that our technology's got to help get travelers home, or help the travel managers bring them home in a much more automated, automatic fashion, because there's just not enough people to answer the phone calls and type on computers to move flights and move hotels and so on. To the extent that we can do it with software and make the process transparent and seamless, it not only helps travelers, but it helps the whole infrastructure and ecosystem as well. So it's a tough problem to solve. Yeah. So on a different front, and this is sort of the last question, how do your product teams and engineering teams build better solutions for travelers? If you think about the world through the traveler aperture, how do you do that? And what do you think about when the product managers and the engineers and the people in QA and IT are thinking about building products? How do you build better solutions that are traveler focused?
Yeah, I think this is traditionally a challenge within every technology company that's actually out there, is how do you ensure that the products that you're creating and the engineers that are creating those products really resonate with the traveler at the end of the day. And traditionally, this has been a challenge. And what we've done is we changed the culture, we changed the thought process of our engineering and technology organizations. Now we're always thinking of the customer. We're always putting ourselves in the position of the customer. If I have to use this, what do I need? Does it function the way that I would expect it? Does it resonate with me? Does it provide the benefits that I actually need as a traveler myself? And really putting that customer first. So everything we do now is focused around the customer, is really thinking through. We spend a lot of time with our customers, talking to them, understanding the challenges, how people actually use different features and functionality. And for me, one of the big takeaways is one size doesn't fit all. We have different types of travelers. We have people who want to experience things in a different way. It needs to be much more personalized to the individual. So also thinking through that in terms of how do we adjust for the different types of travelers that are actually out there, and make sure that they've got at their fingertips the functionality that they need when they need it. So, bringing in the contextual relevance, that's also very, very important. There's no point putting a feature in there if they're only going to use it in a particular scenario. So make it relevant at the time when it's important to them, and be able to predict, and help them in a better solution. So it's really, everything is around the customer and putting the customer, center of everything that we actually do.
Yeah, exactly. I think about road warriors and whether or not those road warriors are in sales or their leadership of the company or their engineers and customers. They're the most valuable assets that our companies have, because they provide the economic fuel by which our companies can grow. And if you can make the road warrior more efficient while they're traveling and save them time and not have them worry about the trip itself, but simply worry about being productive while they're traveling, and be personalized and proactive and automatic, it's a huge win. Because if you get 10 or 20% more productivity out of your road warriors, it has substantial ramifications on the economic productivity of the company. Really, really powerful. And I think the fact that you've pivoted your team and are emphasizing the traveler-centric mentality is really important, because a lot of times people who write software don't travel on airplanes as much as people who sell stuff. and getting them to be empathetic and thoughtful about, well, if I were on an airplane or had to catch a connection that the flight was blown or whatever, the more they think from that perspective, the better product we build. So hats off to you and the team for moving in that direction. I know that the customers have been, I'll speak for them. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here, but I think our customers are really appreciative and really grateful for all the work you and your team have done in building a reliable system that's second to none, and continue to optimize and push the edge of the art on the UX and the UI. And I know there's some, as you and I know, some really exciting stuff coming out in the next 6 months, and can't wait to get it out in the hands of travelers. So thanks, Neil, for all the hard work, and appreciate the time today.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Okay. Take good care.